What is going on, my friends? Today is a very special day because in the next couple of minutes I'll be revealing everything that you need to know about update 5.3, which is, by the way, around the corner. And don't get me wrong, this has nothing to do with leaks or, let's say, with guessing. This is all confirmed and it will come in update 5.3. So I can guarantee that this video is going to be absolutely mind-blowing for you. There's a lot of stuff to cover. So let's begin with the first new character we're going to get. It's going to be a diamond character and it is going to be MK11. No, it's not going to be an MK11. Of course, it's going to be MK1 Shang Tsung. And by the way, I will probably release a separate video about MK1 Shang Tsung, but the most important thing about this character is the fact that he actually can summon meat. So in a way, we have two characters that are coming together. That's absolutely great. If I have to summarize Shang Tsung in a few words, he is a great disabler, a very unique character who can also save you if you're caught, for instance, by characters like MK11 Jade, or any character that has a very long combo that can result in you getting destroyed. Basically, what you can do is, in the middle of that combo, you can decide to escape by tagging to Shang Tsung, which can intercept that and absolutely save you in the process. Now, the second character we're about to get is, by the way, this character is going to be released a little bit later in May, but this character is Onslaught Fujin. Now, Onslaught Fujin is going to be apparently one of the three Onslaught, or even more. I don't know how many characters they have in mind, but definitely we're about to get an Onslaught team, and Fujin is the first member of it. To be honest with you, the things that I love about Fujin is the way he looks. He's absolutely gorgeous, and his fatal blow is called Winds of Change, and I missed to mention that the fatal blow of Shang Tsung is called, by the way, Bad Medicine, which is also a big fan of Bon Jovi, so I couldn't be happier about MK1 Shang Tsung fatal blow. Now, another thing that we're getting is a reworked version of the Black Dragon Tower. All the pieces that we currently had before, or we could currently obtain before, will be reworked. You're currently seeing all the new pieces in the game from the Black Dragon Tower. And of course, this is not really the best thing about the rework of the Black Dragon Tower. The best thing comes later, and it is actually the fact that once you defeat certain towers, for instance the Fatal Tower, you will get a new currency, a brand new currency in MK Mobile, which is totally busted, and it is a dream come true for all veterans in the game. It is called Dragon Crystals. What you can do with these Dragon Crystals is you can spend them on specific packs that are called caskets. In those packs, what you can do is you open them and they guarantee that you're going to get a character which you don't have maxed out in your collection. So imagine that you have 5 characters that are not maxed out. What you're doing is you're collecting those Dragon Crystals, and then once you have enough, you open 1, 2, or even 5 of those packs, and you're getting 1, 2, or 5 characters that you don't have maxed out. How great is that? Probably this is one of the best things we ever got ever since the Crypt, and when it comes to packs, it is a dream come true. It is by far one of the best things we ever got in MK Mobile. Another thing that has to be mentioned is that you don't really get those Dragon Crystals only if you defeat towers. You will get them if you have general sellback. For instance, you're opening packs and you're going to get sellbacks, but instead of souls, you're going to be getting Dragon Crystals. And it's important to note that you have only limited amount of Dragon Crystals that you can get per day. So in a way, you cannot really get a million Dragon Crystals if you have saved tons of hundreds of thousands of souls and you start opening packs just to get resells. You will have a limit that you can get per day, which is fair, let's be real. And one last thing about the Dragon Crystals, they don't only work for characters, they also work for gear. So in a way, if you're missing specific fusions on specific pieces of equipment, you can open packs for Dragon Crystals so that you can guarantee yourself that they will only drop pieces of equipment that you don't have maxed out. So in a way, you can use Dragon Crystals to either get characters that you don't have maxed out or pieces of equipment that you don't have maxed out. And once again, this is one of the best features we ever had in MK Mobile. Another thing that I have to mention, we are also getting 2 new friendship sets. Those are Sub-Zero Friendship and Jade Friendship. You're currently seeing them. Judging by the description of those pieces, I believe, of course, they should be obtainable in the Crypt. At least I don't see any modifications in towers. So 99.9% certain you will be able to unlock them if you play the Crypt. And one last thing I want to mention, the Jade Epics is kind of pretty good, right? Now, I won't get into details for every single tower piece because if I do that, the video is going to be super long. But what I will definitely do is I'm going to release a separate video that will cover the new characters, the new gear, everything. So don't miss those. And this is not everything. What we are also getting are tons of stuff in the crypt. We are going to get definitely a new feeling once we are playing the crypt. And one of the most important changes that are, let's say, implemented for update 5.3 is the fact that the normal difficulty of the crypt has been reduced. So in a way, if you're a complete beginner, it's going to be easier for you to start grinding the crypt. Basically, the whole experience is going to be much easier for you, which is absolutely necessary. I believe when I started my beginner account, it took me a couple of weeks so I can actually start grinding the crypt. So I believe the whole experience now is going to be much more easier. And this is not everything about the crypt. There is now a new consumable that will make sure that you can refresh the teams that you are facing. For instance, if you have a character, or let's say team composition that heavily relies on dots, and you have to face an MK11 team, now you can actually reload that team so that you can face, for instance, Assassin team and just melt them in the process. This is super cool. But this is not everything, because now the experience that you gain in the crypt has been buffed. This was super necessary because even if your character is fusion, let's say level 2 or level 3, it will take probably tens of fights in the crypt so he can level up, which was super weird to say the least. After all, you're getting experience in faction wars. If you're doing tower stages, let's say battle 160 plus, you're getting good experience there as well. However, in the crypt, for some reason, the experience wasn't really that great. Now, how much the experience collected from the crypt is buffed, I cannot say. I guess we can all check that up once the update rolls out. And this is not everything about the crypt. There will be a new support card that will only work in the crypt. Remember, for instance, survival of the fittest, it gives health back if you're doing survival mode. So now there will be a new card that will be giving you bonuses in the crypt. And when I say bonuses, I mean, of course, you're going to regenerate health after each fight, which is pretty cool, to be honest with you. Even though the crypt isn't really that difficult, this is going to make the whole process much more easier, especially for new players. Another thing, there will be pretty great improvement to the feats of strength. Basically, currently, we all know how extremely boring it is to grinding the battle mode only to get certain feats of strength. It is super underwhelming, super annoying for the simple reason that battle mode is extremely outdated game mode, and you can only play that once you are in the first, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, or let's say 1 or 2 months tops, and after that, you never play it because it doesn't give you anything. However, now this has changed. Now there is no requirement for battle mode. So if you want to grind battle mode, there is no point for it anymore. You are getting all those things in the crypt or in the towers instead. Which basically means that if you before had a task that required you to do 200 fights in battle mode, now this task will be redesigned, saying something like this: do 200 fights in the crypt or do 200 fights in towers, depending on the character. And if you already did some battle mode fights, for instance, let's say for the sake of argument that you did 80 battle mode fights, those are going to be transferred, or in other words copy pasted to the new task. So if the new task is to do 200 fights in crypt, now it will be saying you already did 80 out of those 200 and you need to do just 120 left, so no fights in battle mode will be wasted, and that's pretty awesome. When it comes to the Ascensions and the new combat passes, we're going to get 2 seasons, all sorcerer related. We're going to get a season of Quan Chi and Classic Shang, which is super good because Classic Shang is one of the very best goats in the game, so you have the opportunity to make him stronger and to enable the brutality for him. Generally, in my opinion, once again, Classic Shang is super good, and now he's basically a challenge goat, so every single one of you should have him a decent fusion. By completing the combat pass, you're going to unlock even more fusions for him, and hopefully you can get him to fusion 15 and unlock his full potential. And one last thing that has to be mentioned, of course, you know, ever since we had the Combat Pass, we used to get those Combat Pass completion offers where you get the newest character for $20. And now those offers will be back. We'll be getting the newest character plus one Edenian Blood character. Of course, this pack is going to be for money, but once again, you're getting one of the newest diamonds and one of the newest golds, so it is kind of worth. And the last but not least, the developers have made some pretty good and required changes when it comes to fixing certain bugs. As you well know, there was a bug with the horse dance talent. Now this bug should be fixed. Also, another very interesting bug was concerning Classic Goro, that he could resurrect probably a second after he died. Now this should be fixed as well. And the third bug was the death mark functionality. You know, for years after release, death mark was working no matter what. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about resurrections, it doesn't matter where we are talking about, for instance, savings and stuff, but since the previous update that was modified, and now basically what we're going to have is we're going to have the original design of the death mark reinstated. So it doesn't matter whether they are resurrecting, it doesn't matter whether they're being saved, the death mark, once the death mark is there and they didn't resist it, they're going to die no matter what, which is pretty cool, because to be honest with you, if death mark was really working only against resurrections, it actually became not really that great talent. It was a talent that will work only in certain situations, and it was super unfortunate. And in the process, what we got is characters such as MK11 Sub-Zero, such as Strike Force Scorpion, that were buffed to the ground, buffed to the skies, and characters such as Noob Saibot are actually nerfed because their death mark wasn't really that great. Alright guys, so this is not everything, but I try to summarize the most important thing within 10 minutes, so I can give you really a very good idea of what to expect in the upcoming update 5.3, which in my opinion is going to be one of the very best updates that we ever had. Please let me know in the comments what you think, and yeah, see you guys next time, hopefully in the next update.
Perfect.